Like I say, in many of the third world countries, the smaller countries like Mexico and probably even Cuba and some of these other smaller countries, they basically just went through and did death squads and killed people. But in cases like Germany and also Russia and also China, they had a lot harder time of just walking through and getting into what's called like I say, they couldn't do it. There was no military option for breaching. Uh, um, uh, what's it called? Germany. Germany was way too well defended when it was defended. Like I said, it wasn't. Like, it took them like 180 years or something like that. That basically, um, Germany was basically impassable as far as military. Like you couldn't fly an aircraft over it. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. You know, they used spotlights. They had radar. You know, they could shoot down anything that flew over the skies, much like America. You know, so anyway, it was actually a very tough country. So anyway, though, it was almost impossible to breach into Germany as long when I was around. So anyway, and Germans knew how much I cared for them, and basically it was really safe, and everyone felt really safe in Germany. Like I say, so it wasn't until till I started coming into America and started building up America that Germany finally fell. And like I said, realistically, it took the black people on human wave action, basically human wave tactics, where they just thousands of black people or thousands of this, basically tried to breach into Germany, and and I don't know how many died. I don't even know how bad it was, but I'm sure it was pretty bad. Like I say, like they say, a lot of the German officers and German people were basically just like, you poor bastards, And like I said, that the ship with the stairs coming down and on the front, like that was a ship being built, and I was being building it for something else. I forget, but I think they stole the first one or something. They stole one of them. Anyway, like I said, I mean, you'd have to talk to JFK and Nixon about all this stuff, or Rodney or Rick Bush, or the Jehovah's Witnesses. Like I said, they're not a religious group. They're a paramilitary group. And like I say, it was explained to me basically, well, a lot of these groups in one country they're Jehovah's Witnesses, in another country they're Protestants, and in another country they're what's called this other religious group, and basically that's how they were doing everything. Is that they were lying like crazy and basically covering up things. And like I say, I don't really know. I don't really care. You'd have to talk to the Pope or Joe's Witnesses leader or someone else or something else, about the craziness, or maybe Zachary Bill Gates about it, you know. But like I say, basically smaller countries like Mexico and some of these other smaller countries were basically, they lots of people were dying in those countries, and there's lots of death and lots of this and lots of that, and people were really fucking scared, basically, But it was, but for Germany and Russia and some of these other countries that were actually fairly well protected, it wasn't. They had to find a different way of doing things. And like I said, as Germany or whatever, lots of people were protecting and trying to stop these people. And basically, what it comes down to, I'm pretty sure, is JFK, Richard Nixon, and John McCain, and all of them. So I've laid it out for you pretty much, and then basically everything that George W. Bush is doing and everyone else is doing is basically just covering it up. Ronald Reagan, on the other hand, he might have done some stuff, but he was actually my choice. I picked him, and I wanted him, and that's why he was given a house. And lots of presidents were just given houses afterwards. They're supposed to just do their job and just manage and not do anything like what they were doing. But anyway, though, you'd have to talk to JFK or Richard Nixon or something. And like I said, he wasn't actually one of my picks, and he actually had nothing to do with anything, and he was just like a really bad criminal. If you went back like 50, 60 years or a couple hundred years or whatever, you would know JFK or Richard Nixon as basically pretty much like worse than the mafia. The worst person in the whole world, in the whole universe, pretty much. A psychotically jealous and horrible person, basically. Something like that. Like, I'm not exactly sure. But like I said, and that's why they were going with the whole Abraham Lincoln was a president. He wasn't really a president. He only managed or oversaw basically Amish, what is known as the Amish town, basically, or Amish what's it called. At least that's what's been told to me. Like I said, and if you went back like 50 or 60 years or 100 years, you'd probably find out that basically America or the United States was known as 50 or 60 different countries, all rolled into one basically mass. As basically all these pretend whatever, every state was apparently a country or trying to claim itself as a country. So there was no unity, there was no union, at least not until I guess Germany or someone or something like got rid of all the mess. I'm not really sure, but it was a mess. And basically, when I was a child, I remember like they were trying to basically change the name of America. That's why they were going with the U.S. Us, and it's not really us. It was really just Congress or something. I don't know. And I probably did more for the U.S. than anyone else. And but the us is not a country. America is a country, you know. So, and that's why they kind of had to give in to also the name. And besides, the people just wouldn't allow it to be changed or whatever. So, I don't know, and I don't care. It's like, whatever. But like I say, Mexico was going to fight on my side. There's a lot of countries that are like, we'll fight on your side, and blah blah blah. A lot of countries like loved me and cared about me and would fight on my side. So. That's why Richard Nixon, John McCain, and all those other people, they had to resort to basically torture and killing and forcing and lying and bribery and sex scandals and just doing the worst things ever because, all the good stuff was locked up, and besides, like I said, just White Star Line's employees, if I put a gun in the hand of every single one of my employees, I could have taken over countries easily and probably did. Because I had more than enough employees. I mean, you look at the books, like all the Carnegie books. Basically, Carnegie was one of my managers. If you look at the books because every Lucifer White Star Lines employee was all written down in records and everything like that. What is known as the Carnegie employee list. The Mount Rushmore employee list. Every employee. That's how you know who and when and where and why Mount Rushmore was worked on. And by who? Because, every single one of my employees, it was all their names were written down, all photographs, everything. And that's how you know about all this history is because I was having it. I was telling my people that I wanted to make sure that everyone's paid and everyone's done. And so they had all these records and all these lists of employees and people and stuff like that. Stuff that you call consider like the Carnegie lists and blah, blah, this and all of that. I'm pretty sure he worked for me. In fact, I'm positive he worked for me. So... and every single miner in the old days, if you worked, you worked and then, somebody watched you and then they paid you whatever. But, that's why, I was the beginning of the whole, paid employees and lists of employees and food and all that other stuff. So, before that, you were just life forms and blah, blah, and not much more. like a lot of people in the old days used to say the horse is worth more than me because horses were worth $300 and people, so, in the old days, a car or a horse was worth more than a human life, but that all changed with me. So there's lots of reasons why I had such a big effect on existence. And anyway, though, in the end, though, it's like, yeah, whatever, they were crazy. It's funny, people who are actually more crazy than me calling me crazy. It's like, they were the crazy ones, not me. But I don't really care. It's like I had my my LSF colony ship, and I had all my plants, and I had all my life forms, and we did all the extreme stuff together and stuff like that. And although I don't really remember it exactly like that, or very much of it, it still happened. So anyway, whatever. And now we're just in epic denial and epic stupidity, and basically the after effect. So it's like, and basically people like Mike and Mike's brother and other epic losers going, Brian, why don't you sound a little more like that, guys? Could you sound any more pathetic or any much more like a loser? Like all these epic people, and all these awesome, amazing people, all these huge film stars and all this other stuff, and basically the people around me like, Brian, a basket dad, like, oh my God, just epic annoyance. Like I said, it's funny because they're actually paid to entertain me and paid to make sure I had a good experience or a good life or whatever. And other people said, you better make sure that person has a good life and a good experience. So they knew. But instead of entertaining me, they turned around and used it into bribes and started, well, who will know if we entertain him or we harass him or we get him to kill himself early and all that other stuff. Well, they're going to know. They know. So, it's just funny. So anyway, whatever. Like I say, I don't really care. It's like, it's just, Epic annoyance and epic stupidity, and a bunch of people feeling cool, looking cool, and thinking that they're cool, and it's like, whatever. I was too busy for this, for the epic stupidity anyway. Like I say, I was managing Ebola, trying to eliminate Ebola, trying to fix the laws, trying to do all this stuff, trying to do all that, inventing stuff, building stuff, having stuff built, managing money, figuring out how I was going to make more money, how I was going to keep everything afloat, how I was going to manage having a public education system, how I was going to do this, how I was going to do that. I was busy with all these details and all that other stuff. And finally, they were trying to burden me down with like the details of how a roof was going to look. And I was like, I don't care how the roof of the building looks, just build it. Have someone else decide all that crap. They were trying to bury me in details at some point in time, with this roof and this building and that building. I was like, I don't really care. Just make it look nice. I have hundreds of thousands of millions of buildings, and they wanted me to know, wanted me to make every single decision, just bury me in details. And it's like, I'm too busy for this crap. I decide real things, not just how a roof is going to look. So, anyway, yeah,